You've watched it happen more than once. She says she wants one thing, kindness, stability, emotional availability, and then chooses the opposite. Not once, not by accident, but repeatedly, with a consistency that makes you question whether anyone actually means what they say. And you're left standing there, the man who offered exactly what she claimed to want, watching her gravitate towards someone who offers none of it. The confusion isn't about rejection. It's about the gap between stated preference and revealed behavior. Here's what nobody tells you. Attraction doesn't operate on the level of conscious declaration. What she says she wants is often a description of what she thinks she should want, what sounds reasonable, what makes her look like she has good judgment. But attraction is a different system entirely. It bypasses the part of her brain that constructs coherent narratives about herself. It responds to signals she can't always name, patterns she didn't choose to find compelling, dynamics that activate something beneath her awareness. The man she denies being attracted to isn't cruel, he isn't abusive, he isn't the villain she'll describe later when the relationship fails. He's something more complex. Someone who exists comfortably in his own frame without seeking her validation to confirm it. Someone who doesn't rearrange himself to accommodate her discomfort. Someone whose interest in her feels optional, not desperate. And that optional quality, that sense that he could walk away without his world collapsing, creates a psychological tension she interprets as attraction. You felt the opposite effect in your own life. The moment you became too available, too eager, too transparent about how much you wanted her, something shifted, not because you did anything wrong, but because you eliminated the tension that makes attraction sustainable. You confirmed that she was your priority before she decided you were hers, and in doing so, you handed her all the power in the dynamic, which paradoxically made her less interested in wielding it. This is the part that feels unfair. The man she's drawn to doesn't seem to be trying harder than you. He's not more attentive, more romantic, more emotionally articulate. In fact, he's often less of all those things. But he has something you sacrificed in your effort to be chosen. He maintained his center of gravity. He didn't orbit around her. He didn't make her his emotional project. He remained the protagonist of his own life, and she became interested in auditioning for a role in it, rather than expecting him to audition for a role in hers. The psychological mechanism here isn't about games or manipulation. It's about something more fundamental. Uncertainty creates attention. When she knows exactly where she stands with you, when your interest is constant and unconditional, when you've made it clear she could do almost anything and you'd still be there, she stops wondering. And when she stops wondering, she stops investing the mental energy that compounds into attraction. You became predictable, and predictability in early attraction is the opposite of compelling. But here's where this gets complex. She's not lying when she says she wants emotional availability and kindness. She does want those things, just not first. Not as the foundation. What she wants is those qualities in a man who already activated her attraction through something else entirely, through his presence, his autonomy, his refusal to collapse his world into the shape of her approval. The kindness and stability become valuable once she's already interested. Before that point, they're invisible, or worse, they read as compensation for a lack of something more essential. The man she's attracted to but won't admit it isn't withholding these qualities strategically. He's simply not performing them prematurely. He's not trying to prove his worth through service or emotional labor before she's decided he's worth her sustained attention. He operates from an assumption that his presence is the offer, not the audition. And that subtle shift in frame, from proving value to assuming it, changes everything about how she experiences him. You've probably noticed this in moments of clarity, the times when you were less invested, when you had other options, when her approval mattered less. Those were the times she seemed most interested. It wasn't because you were playing games, it was because your attention was distributed, not concentrated entirely on her. She could sense that you had a life she wasn't the center of, and that life became interesting to her. She wanted to understand why you weren't as captivated by her as other men were. Your distraction became her fascination. This is what she denies, because admitting it makes her sound shallow. It makes her sound like she's attracted to indifference or disinterest. But that's not accurate. She's not attracted to men who don't care. She's attracted to men who care about themselves as much as they care about her. Men who have boundaries that don't dissolve the moment she tests them. Men who can hold space for her emotions without being consumed by them. Men whose validation she has to earn, rather than men who volunteer it freely before it's been requested. The internal conflict she experiences is real. Her conscious mind tells her she should choose the stable, available, emotionally generous man, the one who texts back immediately, who makes her his priority, who would never make her feel uncertain. And that's the man she describes when asked what she wants. But her attraction system, the part operating below conscious control, responds to something different. To the man who has a life that would continue with or without her, who treats her interest as welcome but not necessary, who doesn't need her to complete his sense of self. And here's the painful part for you. You can't fake this. You can't strategically withhold attention or manufacture indifference. She'll sense the performance. What activates this dynamic isn't the behavior itself. It's the genuine internal state the behavior emerges from. The man she's drawn to isn't pretending his life is full. His life actually is full. He isn't acting like he has options. He genuinely does. Or at minimum, he genuinely believes he does, which produces the same psychological effect. So when she denies being attracted to this type of man, she's protecting a self-image that says she makes rational, healthy choices based on compatibility and values. She doesn't want to admit that attraction often precedes those evaluations, that she frequently feels drawn to someone first and constructs the rationale afterward. That the man who activates something in her nervous system isn't always the man who checks the boxes on her written list of requirements. What changes when you understand this isn't that you become manipulative or withholding. It's that you stop abandoning yourself in pursuit of her. You stop performing emotional availability as a strategy to be chosen. You stop treating her approval as more important than your own direction. You rebuild the center of gravity you collapsed the moment you decided she was the answer to something broken in you. And paradoxically, that reconstruction makes you more attractive, not because you're playing a game, but because you've returned to being a complete person rather than half of an incomplete equation. The man she's attracted to but denies doesn't reject kindness or emotional depth. He simply offers them from a position of wholeness, not from a position of need. His generosity doesn't come with the unspoken expectation of reciprocal commitment. His attention doesn't carry the weight of desperation. He can be kind without being weak, available without being dispensable, interested without being consumed. And that balance, that ability to remain himself while making space for her, is what her attraction system recognizes and responds to, even when her conscious narrative says she wants something different entirely.